Practices and troubleshooting tips for WordPress users. A little about me. My name is Mohit Agarwal. I've been an enterprise level freelancer for around 13 years now. Worked with many clients. I also have a few plugins like in the WordPress repo, and I'm also a lawyer specializing in legal aspects of technology. And agenda for today's session will be covering the essentials of WordPress best practices, from security and performance optimization to effective content management, all from the perspective of a user, not a professional developer. Some of the best practices, like always back up your website. So I had instances where something happened, like a random auto update of a plugin or like a hacker attack or something. So you always needed a backup for research. So before upgrading your plugins, themes, or even WordPress core, it's always recommended to back up your plugin. And it's always recommended to have it on a third-party server, on a different server, because sometimes, for example, in one instance of my client, a malicious actor deleted all the files on his server, then deleted the bucket itself, so it can't be restored. So in those kind of instances, it makes sense to have it on third party. Like plugins like Jetpack and stuff have started providing services that so you can keep your files on a different server. And you can never forget the importance of regular updates. So for in terms of crucial security and performance. Strong security measures on your website. So, people say that WordPress is easily hackable, but everything is easily hackable, right? Even on our phones, we have to set up a password. We have to set up things. There are some common basic things that you can do on a WordPress website to make it more secure than what it usually is. So, on any website, the default username is administrator. So first, try to change that to something else, because people will try to even non-technical people will try to use the username admin and password at 1234 or something, or brute force it. So there are multiple possibilities to get inside a system like that. And even if someone a lot of people use the same password on multiple websites. So what happens is, on the third-party website, if you're using your same email and a password, and the database gets leaked or something, the hackers try to use the same username and password on on your Facebook, on your Gmail, everything, on your bank account even. So it's always recommended to have two-factor authentication. So you get an OTP that you are getting someone is trying to log in. And I can't emphasize enough that you need to keep your plugins and themes updated. But there's also one other thing, that if you're using a plugin that has been that has not been updated for many years by itself, the plugin authors have not updated it, then there's a possibility that there is something inside it that is still there, but people have not figured it out yet, 0-day bugs. And it's also recommended to install good security plugins, but good security plugins depends on case-to-case basis. So for some people it might be WordFence, for some people it might be something else, for some people it might be something else. What they do is, they first of all limit the number of logins that you can try. So let's say I'm trying to log in a bank account for 5 times. It won't allow me to log in 6th time with the wrong password. So your website can have something like this if you install the plugin and it's really necessary because you're imagining a normal user going to the form and logging in, but imagine a bot. It does it can try 1,000 passwords in a minute, so it makes sense. And again, remove unnecessary plugins and themes. Why is that? Because you might, for example, one of my clients had a WP file manager on plugin install. It's a very popular plugin. I think over 500,000 downloads and active users. But it had a 0-day virus in it. So people even if the plugin was inactive, people can actually go to the PHP file itself directly from the browser, and it send it some commands, and it will allow you to log in. Basically change the admin password, and you can log in. And even though the plugin was inactive, so it's really necessary to delete the plugins that you're not using. Hide your WP admin login URL. It's there are multiple plugins out there which can help you to hide the WP admin, the login itself. So if nobody gets to know where to log in, how will they?
You mean the default one?
Yeah. So a lot of security plugins already allow you to do that, but if you don't want to install an entire security plugin, there are plugins specifically just for this, like just for hiding NVIDIA. And DDoS attacks are rare, but like if your site is like good enough for like hackers to like play around, they'll try to DDoS attack you. So services like Cloudflare and CDS services or some like others definitely would help you to like circumvent that. Just like a few minutes ago I said about WP File Manager, there have been multiple instances of multiple plugins, even though there have been like updates, frequent updates on it, but there have been zero-day attacks on it. And even if the plugins are inactive, the files can still be accessed from outside WordPress. So it's like it always makes sense to delete, not just deactivate, but delete the plugin that you're not actively using. I can't emphasize enough the WP File Managers thing that I'm talking about. At least like 20,000 or more websites were affected directly because of this. Even my client's website was like it had the plugin inactive, but like it still got active. And of course, besides the security stuff, it also has like a performance. So more plugins you have, more hooks it uses, more things it does. So even for every page load, it does more things to like iterate your performance on the website. So just regularly deactivate and delete the plugins you don't actively use. Website speed and performance. So it's basically about like caching plugins. So to improve speed and performance, the first thing that we just talked about is disable whatever you're not using. Second, it's very important is caching plugins, because WordPress itself is dynamic. All pages are dynamically generated, and it takes like load. If your website gets bigger, you have 20 plugins, you have more things on it. It takes a lot of load to generate the page each and individual time. So it always makes sense to have a good caching system. But what is good cache for each and every like project depends on the website, the server, like many other things. So you have to try out a couple of things to find out what is best for you. And how like some caching plugins like W3 Cache and like other plugins also allow you to serve like new generation images on the website, and minifying the CSS, JavaScript, and HTML. And like you might not want all those things. That too depends on case-to-case basis. Some plugins might not want minification because it's already minified. Some plugins don't like to be combined with other JavaScript files, so you have to keep them separate. So you have to play around with the plugin, whatever plugin you have used for speed and performance. But it's very, very important. As Matt Willenberg says, because like almost all of the traffic for blogs, like 60% or more, comes from search engines. So search engine optimization is like very important for all the websites that want to. Yeah. So to optimize for SEO, by default WordPress already handles a lot of the on-site SEO, but we are not using the original theme, original plugins and everything. So we have to be we have to install like third-party plugin like Yoast or something to be able to manage the content ourselves. Like it does the output is taken care of, but to understand what keywords we are using, what makes most sense for the particular article, we have to. Yeah, some plugins also give you a readability score. So it's like it's like AI because it's like automatically analyzing your content and saying you that yeah, out of 10 this is your score. Someone talked to me that they usually have like a white screen of death error on the WordPress website. So basic steps as a non-developer that you can do is disable all the plugins. If you are able to get into the WP admin side of the page, disable all the plugins. If you have a backup, that's like first of all that's important. Then disable all the plugins, disable all your themes, and switch to a default version of the WordPress like 2022, 2024 or whatever. So that's like your WordPress installation is now default. So you're able to understand that if you have like a plugin that's conflicting or a theme that's conflicting or some custom code, but if you disable everything, you have like a basic normal installation of WordPress then. After that, it's like recommended to clear your browser cache and WordPress cache after you have installed it. Check the, most probably it won't be there anymore. So once you find out that after disabling all the plugins and themes, you are not getting any error, try to enable one plugin at a time and figure out what is the conflicting plugin. And like there are other issues as well which can cause a white screen of that, but like this one is like the easiest solution as a non-user.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
This is a situation where it's allowing you to get into the admin, but in most of the cases we have to go into the file manager.
But I have to think in from point of view of a user, non-developer.
So, I'm talking about non-developers.
Okay.
If it isn't allowing me into the admin, I have to get into the file manager, disable individually all the plugin files from the file manager to get the healthy WordPress back.
Okay.
Now, when I'm disabling it from the file manager, it is also deleting the shared files between the plugins.
What
which
do you
is
mean by the shared files?
It gives another error that shared file has been deleted.
Okay, so you're now getting errors on the website.
Huh.
Okay.
So what do you have any solution?
So if you're getting white screen of death and you're not seeing any errors, you're not able to log into WP Edit. First you have to like I was thinking it purely in terms of like non-developers, but if you are fine with editing WP config files and stuff, I would first recommend you to like enable WP debug there and like log WP log there. Once you do that, you will actually see all the errors, whatever is like not being shown on the front. And usually you will see the exact error from which plugin it is coming from. You don't have to disable all the plugins then. You can just disable one of those plugins, or like one of the code, or whatever, one of the theme file or something. You don't have to do that. And like I did not take a point about the shared files. What do you mean? Example, can you give me an example?
Example, actually when I did that, took the website into the safe mode and disabled individual plugin files from the file manager, it gave me another error that while deleting this plugin file, you have deleted the shared file from another plugin.
Okay, that's like not usually the case, because first of all you don't have to delete anything, you have to deactivate. So like if you're doing it from the file manager, just renaming the folder, the plugin folder itself automatically deactivates the plugin. So let's say you have Akismet installed in the plugins area. You can just rename it Akismet_bag or something. And once you refresh the website, the plugin will get deactivated automatically because the plugin folder is not there. You don't have to delete anything. Don't delete anything from the file server, directly from the FTP. Like it's not recommended for like even developers to delete anything from the file manager. Try to it. Like, once you get inside the WordPress manager, delete it from there. It will, because there are like lot of hooks for like deactivation and everything like inside a plugin. There's programmers have already thought of like issues that can come up when deactivating and deleting the plugin. For example, if I have a plugin that has a lot of data on my website, and if I choose to delete the plugin, it will ask me if I want to delete the data as well, like the data associated with the plugin, or just the plugin itself. So yeah, if you got an error where you had like shared file between multiple plugins, and you got an error, I don't think that was like the right thing for the plugin itself. It's like that's not the way the plugin is coded.
I think he is referring to by saying the shared file.
Yeah.
Probably he is saying the dependency plugins. Kind of some plugins are dependent on other plugins. Maybe this is the case. But whatever is the case, deleting any file or deleting any plugin folder is not the solution.
Yep.
Whatever you have said, that like rename the folder and the plugin will automatically get deactivated.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the situation we have. I mean, actual solution we have to follow.
Because like a lot of times people might delete like things unwantedly, just like the error that you did. I might want to try like delete a particular version of a plugin, but it's like deleting the other version. I might have like multiple versions of the same plugin on the server. So it's never recommended to delete anything directly from the server. Use the WordPress manager, delete it from there, that's okay. But for like debugging purposes, only rename. And first, take a backup before you do all that.
And not only that, if you delete an active plugin,
Yeah.
it will create even more errors.
Sorry?
It will create even more errors on the
Yeah.
website because you are deleting an active plugin. So you are using the